Could you just talk a little bit about the decision to start Jenna today, how that came about and how you thought she did taking on that role for the first time?
I thought at some point we need to keep experimenting, to see what does work, what can be better, and just give us a different kind of look. And I think the progress that we need to make in that area, it's going to take a while. It's not going to be easy. So we'll keep trying. But I thought until she missed a layup and then her own layup, I think she was okay. I think the biggest challenge for these guys is mentally staying present. I think that's the biggest challenge right now.
Starting easy today. I know you talked the other day, what you really care about is getting quality threes. When you get her back in the lineup now, even though she didn't shoot well, she got a good number of quality shots to take. Are you pleased with where you're heading in that direction?
I think as I said before, I think the quality of shots, are really what you're searching for, and you can practice shots all you want, but getting them in a game and shooting them in a game and watching them go in and game action is a little bit different than how many reps you get in practice, So it's good to get her back, good to get her out there, and when she gets her legs under, I think things will get even better. Right now, I think the process is we're kind of starting over again. It seems like we're constantly in a start-stop with AZ.
Just following up on that, it's hard to read her. She's kind of stone face out there. But how hard is this? She gets back, she goes out, now she's back, and is there a frustration level? And how do you manage that with her?
Yeah, I think there has to be. I would think. Anytime you can't get into any kind of routine, any kind of rhythm, it's difficult. I think athletes like routine. They like to know, what's next and how do I prepare for what's next. And when you're not sure, it's difficult. And then you end up with more practice time than you actually do game time. And so, as I said, hopefully it's the last of it. It's the last time we'll have to go through anything like that. But it's always a threat. When she's in the game, there's always a threat. She might go, 4 for 4 in a spurt and put the game away. So it'll come. It's just going to take a little bit of time, I think.
And all that. Almost it's what's happened that did she, hit a wall somewhere or stop making progress? What's,
Yeah.
Or is it just, it takes a lot of time to get all that rust off because she sat out so long?
Yeah, it does. It takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of game action. And you'll see glimpses, you'll see moments where it's what it could be, but I know a lot of times for kids early on in their career, there's a lot of thinking involved, and so I know that's a big part. She overthinks things. Like if you were to ask her, she would tell you she overthinks things, and then I think when you're busy thinking, it's hard to play. And if you can't think, you can't play. So basketball is kind of a funny game that way. So yeah, right now her head's getting in the way of her game, and I'm hopeful that little by little, and I think putting her in the start lineup may help, in that regard.
When you started here, I'm sure a long road trip for some of these fans was Willimantic to stores. And you look around today, and there's someone from Sweden in the stands. Someone said they drove in from Nova Scotia. When you see that or you hear about that, what's that mean? What's that say to you about the global attraction that your players have?
It really is hard to believe in so many ways, but it's hard to believe only if you think back to the way it used to be, where information was local and information is now global. So whether you live in Manchester, Connecticut, or Manchester, England, you have access to the exact same information. So you've got a whole world as your audience now that wants to be a part of it. I have these discussions with the players, trying to get them to understand that there's an awful lot of people that come to watch them play because they want to see what all the noise is about, what's all the talk about, and hopefully, you give them some memorable performances, and but it certainly is different than, when we would play Providence 30 years ago, and it was a different world back then, for sure. Yeah. I still can't believe it myself sometimes.
Geno, for the next 5 on the road and at places that are generally not, historically anyway, have not always been very easy to play against. Certainly a different Marquette team than you would have expected, after all the changes they have. But can you talk about going on the road to Marquette and then, this stretch of the 4 out of 5 on the road and how you think your team is ready to handle it?
Yeah, that's always the big question. How are you a team that's equipped to win on the road? Does your defense carry over? Does your rebounding carry over? Can you execute? All those things that become crucial on the road. And well, we certainly had a lot of tests. Quite a few on neutral courts. So I think this will be a good test for us. It'll be like you said, 4 out of 5. All different too. All different styles of play. But I do believe that, even today's game, what the first quarter looked like, what the first half looked like, was drastically different than the second half looked like. So you just want to try to find out something every game. Yeah, I'm anxious. I want to, especially now when you're going on the road, I want to find a way to get comfortable with our team's identity, like each individual, like what are we going to get? I think it would be important, if we come out of these next 5 games and have a sense of, this is what we're going to get out of these players individually. KK, that's 2 really good games now where defensively she was a huge factor in the game. So if that becomes, all right, that's KK's identity now, those are the kind of things that you hope to find out.
Kind of on that, with KK and Ash, it seems like both were pretty effective off the bench today. Just how do you like the way that they've adjusted to that new role this year, especially Ash with kind of the back and forth of starting and then
Yeah.
not starting?
Yeah, I think when you're coming off the bench like that, and I'm probably going to end up with the same exact minutes as if I was starting, given the number of players on this year's team. I'm probably going to end up with the same number of minutes. How do I not think that I have to go in and I have to make the first 5 shots I take, otherwise I'm not impacting the game. And I think Ash's impact today was probably more defensively than it was offensively. So that's a good thing, you know. And they're both, it's backwards, but this is the year they should have had last year, right? Last year, this would have been their role, except things didn't play out that way. So, but it's to our advantage because we have 2 guys that started and played a ton of minutes last year coming off the bench, and not everybody can say that, you know. So I take it as a huge positive, and I think they do as well.
Geno, the defensive pressure that you were able to use today, I mean, is that the upside of the small team or just having a lot more healthy bodies? Can you see the press being big going forward?
That can be, depending on the team, you know. Some teams are more, you're more apt to want to use your pressure. Other teams, it can backfire on you, so I think you got to be careful on how you use it. But I think we proved in the, SC game that our pressure can be effective, regardless of the opponent. It's just has to be worked on all the time because it does do a number on your legs, you know, and you're going to have to play a lot of players. And when that happens, unfortunately, your offense tends to suffer. The execution of your offense starts to suffer because you have so many different players playing short spurts, you know, because you can't sustain that. So we're trying to figure out how can we continue to build on it and use it as another defensive, tool in our toolbox. And some teams are going to be more effective against it than others.
When you talk about AZ having to get her legs under her and getting in a rhythm, I imagine part of that is also getting over the fear that she's going to injure herself again, right? I mean, is she going through that? Is there a tentative thing that you see?
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it that much. It's good when I see her get in the lane, put a body on somebody trying to get to the rim. I think that's a good sign. The goal today was to play her 20 minutes. I think she ended up playing 23. And that's generally what you can see. You go from not playing in games to now all of a sudden you're picking up full court and you go. And as I said, I think your legs go a little bit and it takes a while to get those back. She's been through so many of these that I really couldn't tell you for certain, like, what goes through her mind right now. Is it like I'm completely over it? It's there, but it's not there, or, I can't put myself in her shoes. I've never been in that situation, and not very many people have been, to be quite honest. So I can just go by what she looks like, and as I said, I'm 100% certain that with each passing game, it'll get better and better and better for her. She'll forget or think less about anything else other than playing the game. All right.
hasn't quite translated to the game yet?
I think just her aggression level, and her intensity at practice, and her ability to create plays by how hard she plays. And she has this energy about her that's infectious, and it like instills itself within her teammates. And so her just sticking to that, and playing extremely hard, playing with this certain energy, it'll open up everything else around her and for her. But I think she's extremely skilled, has great footwork, can finish around the rim. And today I thought she did a great job of tipping, keeping plays alive, getting offensive rebounds for us. And so she, like we know, like she's coming off an injury. It's her first freshman year here, so she needs to give herself grace. We want to give her grace, but we also know how important she is to the team's success. So, I mean, I feel like there's great things ahead for her. She knows it. This whole team knows it. Yeah.
The two games that you played, it seems like you've shot the ball much better than the numbers would indicate. A lot of balls kind of going halfway down the line and out. But I just wonder how you feel about the way the ramping up process is going. And for you, I've been through this as many times as you have. What's the process like of kind of getting your legs under you, getting your confidence back, maybe getting over any fear right after the injury? What's it like for you mentally and physically to come back from this?
Kind of like what Paige just said, touched on, like giving grace. Like I've learned a lot this year to give myself grace, and knowing that this returning to play process wasn't going to be the prettiest. I wasn't going to be the exact same player I was my first game back. And that goes for right now. Like I'm still kind of getting back into the flow of the offense and connecting with everyone on the court. So I think just reminding myself, like, the next one's going to go in, like, having that confidence, being okay with, seeing the ball rattle out, but knowing that, like, I'm controlling everything I can defensively with my energy, with my intensity, all that stuff. But just, being grateful to be able to be on the floor, whether my shots are going in or not. I feel pretty great. I mean, just being on the floor, like, puts a smile on my face. Obviously, there's a lot of things that I need to do better as we continue to play games. But like I said, I'm just so happy to be back on the floor with everyone. It's going to stay that way this time, and I know that we're just going to keep building.
Can you talk about the impact that KK and Ashland had, especially on the defensive end?
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations as a team, as individuals, on how they're in a different role necessarily this year, but their impact is the same, and their ability to change and contribute to winning is the same. And they've taken that to heart and really taken advantage of the new challenge that's ahead of them, and bringing that energy, intensity off the bench, and whatever the starters did, like, they come in and completely change the game in whatever way that they do, and they can. So their defensive intensity tonight, in the past couple of games, really have been tremendous and have shifted the game as soon as they came into the game. So for them to continue to impact winning that way, it does measures for our team.
Paige, you guys came here to play together. I know it hasn't always gone the way you wanted. How is your relationship for helping each other get back on the court? You got back through some adversity.
Well, I think, both of us having gone through similar stuff, I can say that when she was, like, watching her go through her injury while I was playing kind of motivated me to, fill her shoes and what she was doing while she was out. And then when I got hurt the following year, having seen her go through her entire rehab process and just, like, the way that she held herself, the way that she went about her rehab every single day, kept her head high, like, was still such a key piece to our team without even playing. That really inspired me all of last year while I went through my rehab process. And I think just knowing everything that we've been through, and like you said, we came, or at least I came to UConn, like, looking forward to playing three full years of basketball with her. And so now I think we don't take that for granted, the time that we do get on the floor together.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've relied on each other just for strength, and that's been me and AZ, the whole team, with everything that we've went through. But like she said, having experienced a lot of the same things, going through adversity together, seeing each other go through it, just to be able to motivate each other, be there on the good days and the bad, when you need a pep talk, when you need to talk, when you're sad, like anything like that. We're just all there for each other and there to support each other in any way possible. And like she said, like we don't want to take these moments for granted. Obviously, the past didn't go the way we wanted to, but you can't change that for the future. So our ability to help each other stay in the present and take nothing for granted and take advantage of what we have now, I think we do a great job of that.
People that watch the age from the outside think, probably think that, think you've seen her put in all the work, and you've been with her through the bumps in her road as she's gone through this journey. As your relationship, as your friendship has continued through these years, as you've known her since what, 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, what is it about her that allows her to persevere through anything that might really ruin a lot of people, and she, like I said, survives and succeeds?
She has a tremendous work ethic, but I honestly think it's like her competitiveness. Like she doesn't take anything, like she doesn't do anything going half speed. Like she does everything with her whole heart into it, all her effort, all her energy. She does it with purpose and passion. I think that's also something that's really that I admire. Like the way she did her rehab, the way she comes to practice, the way she leads this team, just everything she does. She puts everything into it, and sometimes like that could be to like her fault, honestly, because I feel like she is so giving and so like looking out for everyone else in the team that she forgets to, like she needs to take care of herself as well.
I think I was kind of born with it. It was sort of in my nature as a kid. I was a tomboy. I played every single sport growing up at recess. Always tried to be the first pick when teams were picking. I tried to win every single board game. And really, it's just like you have a feeling of you hate losing more than you love winning. But I love winning, and I hate losing, so it's like equal. But I think it's just sort of like definitely in my nature of wanting to be the best, wanting to win, and doing everything that I can to control that, to be my best, to try to continue to keep getting better and never get complacent with where I'm at. So it's definitely a mindset and something that I think I was sort of born with.
Coach was talking about the roles that where she thought the role you actually have now is what you didn't have last year. All players unavailable. What's that adjustment been like? Being a starter, playing an awful lot of minutes last year, and now you have to go in for 5 minutes here, 4 minutes here. I think that's been an adjustment for you.
I look at it the same way as last year. I mean, last year was a great opportunity, and I feel like this year is a different opportunity, but just me embracing it and knowing that this role that I have is something that can help my team win, and just going in there, picking off where the starting five have left off, energy, defensive energy, creating opportunities for my teammates is just something that I thrive on and I get energy off of, and, spread energy out to my teammates. So I feel like it's the same type of mindset that I had going into last year. This year is just the same type of things going into each game, knowing how I can impact the game, how I can, make different things happen for our team to win. So.
You're still learning how to play under speed. I remember you last year when you started. Terrible. Haven't seen about that this year. Is there adjustment how to use your speed?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I've done better controlling my speed. Like you said, last year I was going 100 miles per hour, not knowing where I'm going sometimes, but just kind of this year looking down the court, seeing where my teammates are instead of just going down and, getting nothing out of the possession. So, yeah.
KK, you guys forced 31 turnovers today and played a lot of pressure defense. Can you talk about how much you enjoy playing the pressure defense, because it seems to feed right into your personality, but how good you guys can be as a team overall with your depth and talent?
Of course. I feel like as a team that like is a part of our identity and things that create more for us on offensive end. So as soon as we get a tip or anything on defense, I feel like it creates energy for our offense. It creates more opportunity for us to set up half court or, create opportunities like I said. But I feel like that's a part of our identity, half and half, of just doing that defensive energy. And I feel like I said, I love doing defensive energy. Smile, it gets me riled up a lot. So just being that defensive energy for my spark for my team, I can't wait. So.
Used to the crowds and the fans, but when you see people travel from Sweden and Canada and things, I mean, is it ever overwhelming or surprising to you still, or has it kind of become a new normal?
It's never something that I take for granted, and like you said, like this is a new normal. Like I never want it to become normal, and I never want to take it for granted that people spend their hard-earned money, their time, their energy, their effort to come watch us play. And so, like before the game, I was reading the signs, and it's just surreal, and it's very humbling, and it definitely makes you realize how blessed you are to be where you're at. And like, I don't know, I'm just super grateful for it, and I never want to take it for granted. And that's something that I kind of like think about before games. Like every single time we suit up, there's a new person in the stands watching us play, and coach talked about it pregame. Like people spend their money and their time to come to watch us play. So to not give everything you have is cheating yourself and cheating them. So definitely something that I never want to take for granted.
Did you get a chance at all to connect with the little girl who was a fan of the game, who had the brain cancer? She was wearing your jersey with 3 of her friends with the jerseys. Do you get to talk to them at all, or did you just high-five them?
I talked to them a little bit after the game. Obviously, the interactions are pretty quick with how fast-moving things are after the game. But took a picture with her and her friends, and those experiences are amazing.
And for the next 5 games for you guys around the road, historically UConn's been a good road team. What are the qualities that make a good road team, and does this team have that going forward?
Yeah, I think the ability to not get rattled or shaken, a good connectivity between the team to where no matter what runs they go on, no matter how loud the crowd is or how things may not be shifting your way in a game, how well you can stay together, stay composed in a huddle. What are you saying? Are you saying the right things? And just the ability to respond to challenges, but also be able to throw the first punch in a game, especially on the road, just to set that tone, get their crowd disengaged right from the start. And definitely I think our team has that. I think it's still something that's a work in progress that we're trying to embody every single game, and it starts in practice. So it'll be huge in preparation coming up. Thank you.